In this video, we're going to uncover the battle that most men go with, the quiet one that's on the inside, the one that seems to think that in order to become the man that we want, we have to overcome or defeat some part of ourselves to get there. It's damaging and it can hold you back. And by the end of this video, I will have introduced you to some concepts that I think are going to make a big difference, chill you out, and help you actually get where you want to go faster.
Ah! Oh! Oh!
So to begin with, this video, the intention of it, what I want to give you are some concepts. I want to introduce you to some new thoughts. I want to help your mindset have some new data to start chewing on. The reason is because sometimes it's not the direct instruction that makes the biggest difference in the personal development journey or the self-awareness journey, whatever journey you're on. Sometimes it's that little nugget, the one that plants a seed and it takes time to grow. The one that gets in there and it kind of like becomes like one of those construction road cones to the normal patterns of your life. You know, there's a belief that you have, and then this little seed that was planted bumps into it. I want to give you a lot of those right now. I remember in November of 2011, my dear mentor, Jeff Fagan, the first time I met him at a luncheon, he asks me, "So, Jeremy, what is income to you?" And I remember laughing quietly, thinking, well, I'll give you the wrong answer, the one that I think. And then he tells me income is the direct relationship to the money you earn based on the value you deliver to the marketplace. That was like giving salad to somebody that's really unhealthy. It was such a big deal. Another one is the T. Harv Eker statement, how you do anything is how you do everything. Some of the other ones, your inner voice is the greatest conflict you'll ever have, that the person that you have to overcome the most is yourself. Another one, our unconscious mind, the way we grew up, it all has patterns and stories, and it has motivations that we're not even aware of that are guiding our life. So what I want to do by the end of this video is give you sort of my culmination of a lot of things that I've learned over the last 10 years at least, and introduce you to some ways that you can think that I hope help. Because the whole point of this is to overcome that battle within, the one that thinks you have to defeat some part of yourself to have the life that you want. So here's the first concept I want to introduce you to. No part of me, I'm just speaking for myself, what I discovered was there's no part of me, my patterns, my beliefs, none of it is actually there to try to hurt me. Because there's no such thing as self-sabotage. What there is a collection of different experiences and beliefs and stories based on the way we grew up, things that happened to us throughout our life, and all of them are trying to help. They all may have really wacky programming, but they're there to try to help you. So what this might mean as a practical term, this one is, I'm a people person in my conscious mind. I'm a people person and I like to interact and I like to network and I really enjoy um, the opportunity to meet new people, talk about new things, and then of course, what can we build together? What could we possibly create together? How can this, beneficial relationship work to everyone getting what they really want out of life? Well, there's an unconscious part of me that I moved so much as a kid that I never really felt safe. I very rarely ever felt like I fit in. So the part of me inside that I used to call the self-saboteur was I'd get to know people on a really cool level, but then some part of me then would just suddenly disappear. And I didn't understand. People would say I have a fear of success or I'm an introvert and I really don't want to be around people and I'm forcing myself to be someone I'm not. And there's truth to that. But the deepest truth, there was a part of me that was probably 7 years old inside saying, when you get around people you don't know, then they treat you badly. So why don't you step back before you get hurt? So then I ask myself, is that part of me, that 7-year-old part of me, someone I have to defeat? It's not. For instance, another one, discipline. If you express the need to be more disciplined in your life? I mean, so many of us do. I mean, I'll go for the generality and say I do. Well, here's the problem. When we want to change, when I discovered about me, when I wanted to make a change, I immediately bumped into a part of me that wasn't going to change, not without a fight. So then I figured, well, then I better put up a fight and I'll fuck up this part of me that keeps trying to get in the way and I'm going to win. Maybe you're catching on here. There's a split, there's a duality, there's a separation that happens. If I want more discipline, then some part of me has to be the disciplinarian and another part of me has to be disciplined. How can, that old statement, a house divided itself can't stand? How can I move into a future that I really want if I'm trying to defeat a part of myself? I discovered I needed to get a hold of the part of me that was resisting and understand it better. Now, like I said, I'm not trying to explain to you how to do these things. I'll, at the end of the video, give you some ideas on where you can get started. My goal is to just have this conversation, put some ideas in your mind, and make you think maybe for the first time, yeah, maybe I'm going about this all wrong. Because society doesn't generally take the time to understand human psychology and human behavior and what goes on up in the freaking coconut. We have so many parts of us that have different interests that we think they're in the way, we think they're sabotaging us, but they're just trying to help. Most of the time, they're trying to help you from getting hurt. They're trying to spare you the pain of another bad decision as your brain seems to think a bad decision may be defined. Here is another example. When you start to really take a look at what goes on inside of you, in the voice in your head and the patterns in your life, you'll start to notice that there's patterns that repeat themselves over and over and over again until you really focus on them. It's kind of like quantum entanglement, but for like the human brain. But it's a pattern that's always running in the background until you focus on it, change the pattern. How many of you out there would love to have more love in your life? There was a point in my life where I was certain that women didn't like me. It was like a constant record playing in my head, and it was just dumb language. It's all from a place of pain. So I thought I have to defeat this piece of me that doesn't think it's deserving or unlovable. I came across all these terms like I have a lack mentality, or I don't feel like I deserve love, or I don't love myself enough, so how can someone else? It's weird, but the ultimate truth that I discovered for me, maybe it's the same for you in some way. There's no part of me that hates itself. It may feel like it, but that's the result of a program in there that's trying to help, and that's just the way it's expressing itself. There's no part of me that didn't love me. There may be a language around that that's really loud, but underneath it, that's not true. So in my effort to find real love, which I did, Andrea and I, and what we're doing together is a result of the work that I did. What I realized was I never felt like, again, my childhood, I moved, I think 20 times. I went to 18 different schools. I think it's safe to say that consistency and certainty were not a part of my upbringing. And so, one of the most uncertain things a man can do is love. And so a part of me that wanted love was bumping up a part of me that was uncertain. It's like, wait, do you know what happens every time you find love? It gets uncertain and then you feel scared and then you screw up. So why don't we just go to Pornhub instead of doing this love thing? I mean, it's a crappy substitute, but at least it's safe. Is this all tracking with you so far? This has been one of the biggest eye openers for me. The gist of it is, if I were to summarize, all of you needs all of you in a harmonious and aligned and integrated way. For instance, self-love, I mean, some part of you then has to separate to be the judge of what's lovable and what's not. Ultimately, all the love that we're capable of already exists within us. And then it's like a magical energy. The more You give love room, the more momentum it gets and the more it spreads. But the love is already within you. I can't do the self-love thing by isolating a part of me and saying, okay, I love that part of me. That means there's another part in conflict. There's another piece. I've now separated myself. So some part of me is not going to get the fullness of what needs to happen. As you examine and think about what I'm sharing with you, think about how many things in your life seem to be the pattern of disruption to the plans you want to make. And then ask yourself, what part of me is actually trying to help instead of what piece of me do I have to fucking defeat? There's a lot of people that get really rugged about it, and with good reason. But ultimately, it begins with understanding you are an entire unit, and every piece of you wants what's best for you. Every piece of you wants you to be safe, to be happy, to not get hurt. And it's going to do everything in its power to stop you from getting hurt. And if that means canceling things that you keep trying to do consciously that unconsciously it doesn't feel safe, it's going to do it over and over and over again. I'll I'll end here with a couple of things. There's some things you can look into. One of them is called the inner child. There is an entire field of study. You can look on YouTube. You can look up the inner family system. And there's a book I highly recommend. It's called The Body Keeps the Score, which ultimately means that everything you experience is in your body. All the thoughts and all the beliefs that you think are limiting or getting in your way or sabotaging you, they all exist in your nervous system, which means you can put your hands on it somewhere, you can breathe into it, and there's so many techniques to get in touch and hear what it has to say. Then you integrate. So when you practice and learn about these things, I would love to hear what your journey is. If this has helped you in any way, if these concepts have maybe been the first time you've heard this, maybe it's a subtle reminder that you're not a hopeless case and that you have to fight yourself. I want to help you not fight yourself. I want you to integrate yourself and find that all when your pieces come together, you form a mighty fucking Voltron and you have the life of your dreams, that you can be everything you're capable of, not by fighting yourself, but by understanding yourself better. And then when you have that understanding, then you can get really rigid and you can get really tough. You know, that rugged individualism, or like, what is it? The radical self-ownership. You can get radical when you're integrated, and then it's so effective and powerful. And I invite you to do that. And finally, Andrea and I have an entire library we'd like to share with you of materials that can help you on your journey. But this library, I have a link. It's free. Help yourself. Just go to the description. It's the first link that'll be there. It'll be how you can access this and learn about yourself and get moving in the right direction. If you love these kinds of conversations, please, of course, like and subscribe. We would love to hear from you in the comments and understand where you're coming from and what your journey is all about. And we'll see you in the next video.
Ah! Oh! Oh!